Welcome to this regional stakeholders outreach conducted by top cop of the Guyana Police Force, Mr. Clifton, Hicken, and administrative team on his visit to the Municipality of Bartica on Thursday, the 17th of November 2022. We will now provide you this feature presentation with Regional Commander, Senior Superintendent, Mr. Dion Moore, delivering opening remarks.
His Worship, the Mayor, Mr. Guilford Marshall, Commissioner of Police, Mr. Clifton Hicken, Deputy Commissioner of Administration, Mr. Calvin Vitus, members of the Bartica Chamber of Commerce, Regional Executive Officer, members of the Captain Fleet, Manager of GRA, Mr. Basdio, members of the community policing groups, members of the business community, ranks all. A pleasant good afternoon to you. Today we are privileged to have before us and in our midst the Commissioner of Police. But no one enter any town where there is a mayor without any permission. So as you can see, the mayor is here and permission was granted for him to enter. We would have rolled out our Christmas policing plan just 2 days ago, of which a lot was said and what is expected between the period of 15th of November all through 15th of January 2023. Today is no different. You would have heard lots of what we will be doing, but it will be reinforced today. Before I invite the Commissioner, please permit me to invite His Worship the Mayor for a few remarks.
Thank you very much, Commander. I would like us to put our hands together for our Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner. That's the best Bartica welcome we can give them. Commissioner, this opportunity is not given to us every day, so we're so happy that you will spend today and the next 2 days with us. But Barticians, I want to encourage you to let us make the best use of this opportunity and let us, in a very timely manner, raise our concerns, give our recommendations, and we can only grow from strength to strength here in Bartica. I'm happy not only to be the mayor, but to say that we have an excellent relationship, a great relationship between the community of this township and region and the police. And if you agree, put your hands together for that. And we need to keep it that way. And that is why we have this stakeholder meeting this afternoon. And again, I welcome Commissioner and his team. And I believe that, like I said before, we will grow from strength to strength. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Mayor. Outreaches are always important. It's the only way you can get to know what is happening in every community. Commissioner is one of the pioneers who would have been. Please welcome Commissioner for his remarks.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Chairperson, in the form of Commander, Your Worship the Mayor, and my friend, Deputy Commissioner of Administration, members of the Bartica Chamber of Commerce, members of the corporate sector, CPGs, station management, faith base, GRA, brothers and sisters, good afternoon. I didn't allow him to introduce me because I want to remind you that I'm a humble person. And so the accolades don't mean anything. My service to the public means everything. And so I want to start by saying we would have recently outlined our Christmas policing plan to the populace. It was done in a decentralized way so as to allow all the regions to benefit from the plan deriving from the regional commanders. I now acknowledge the presence of the regional chairman. And so I told the public that I'm going to visit every region in conjunction with my ELT, meaning the deputy commissioners, or I'm going to allow the deputy commissioners to visit on my behalf. This time around, I want to do it different. Whenever I go out to these type of outreaches, the crowd is not important, and it is important at the same time. But it's the message that I'm leaving with this August body here. And this message should be disseminated to the entire Bartica community. And so we've achieved by your presence this afternoon. And so give yourself a round of applause. Security. Security is paramount for us as a police force, and it's even more paramount for me as the Commissioner of Police. And so I want to start by saying conflict breeds conflict. There is no resolution to conflict, but there's compromises. And so today, I want to start by saying renew your relationship with your neighbor. Your neighbor is your best security you can have. Your neighbor sees everything that's happening real time. The neighbor will assist by calling the police to respond, but the neighbor is already there. And so your neighbor should be your close friend. And in myself, your neighbor is not your close friend. It should be somebody that you have a cordial relation with. The other thing I like to say in this regard, I would like all of you to renew the way you live and have more camaraderie with your community, share values, but more importantly, share contact numbers. And so if something strange going on in the community, the passage of information gives us the type of success we really need if we're to provide a service to you. And so if you see something, you need to say something. But that can only be done if there's a coordinated approach coming from the community. And so within a community sphere, you should have each person from the community number. Similarly, everybody should have an exchange of numbers. I'm saying that to say the police cannot be all over at the same time, and so we derived a strategic plan, speaks to 2002 to 2006, with specific pillars, especially partnership. And so the CPGs, the Station Management Committee, the private security organizations, the Chamber of Commerce, generally the corporate sector and the populace, we are all working in conjunction with you, and so we're complementing each other where necessary. And so when I open the floor, I'm creating an environment where you can speak to me very frankly. When the floor is open, I'm interested in about 3 areas. 1, the type of service the police providing to you. 2, the professionalism or unprofessionalism that is taking place out here. And 3, if the police is reactive or they are proactive. Those are the areas I like to focus on. Any other questions you have, you can raise them. Like any other organization, we have limitations. Whatever is out of our purview, I have the privilege to call ministers and pass this type of information on to them, and so they can adequately address them. The Hinterland Intelligence Committee, that group was reformed recently with a specific objective to ensure we have safer communities within the interior location. And so they must not be a cry based on a commitment we had that there is inadequate vehicles to respond to any eventuality that is going on in the interior. And so, as we speak, the commander was tasked to have roving patrols done in conjunction with the CPG, the corporate sector, members from the Mining Association, and of course the HIC. And so if we complement each other, we're going to be all over with limited use coming from one organization. Now imagine we have one CPG, one police, somebody from the hinterland intelligence committee, somebody from the private sector, because you all have interests of what's going on in interior. And if you're going to a location to probably wash down, and if you're going to collect production, what the case may be, pool resources, and so we can have this type of visibility in and around the interior locations. And I'm saying this because I was the commander for ENF Division before it decentralized. And that is one posture that never fails us. The other thing is, we are complemented by communication in the form of satellite, and if there is need for us to do a evac, we have the type of systems in place. And so anybody injured seriously, they can be evacuated to town. During this Christmas season, it's imperative that we do check and balances. And so the security services that we have in Bartica, the commander, you're supposed to be working in close collaboration. And so the static guards at locations they employ to work must be visited pretty frequently. Like the police will be seen in terms of visibility more than the normal police posture. But as we're coming down to year end, this is the time we would normally do our checks and balances in terms of ensuring you're accurately accounting for the systems that were put in place in terms of financial records and accountability. And so for the security services, you are going to be visited to ensure that you are licensed for this year, and the firearms that you have in your possession, they're up to date and lawful. Traffic lawlessness, and I'm not speaking to Bartica only, I'm speaking generally. We have a posture to deal with traffic management in conjunction with other stakeholders. This must be the practice of here too. Like I told the populace, I'm going to remind you, you have communities here, and most of your murders you have up here deriving from indulging in consumption of alcohol. During this festive season, we're out of COVID, it's expected that you converge into spaces for social activities. It's expected that they have activities within the communities too. You have a responsibility like us. If there's a conflict brewing in the community, don't support it. Try as far as practicable to de-escalate it. Don't allow it to escalate. Let me go this very slowly to you. If there's a brewing issue in the community, you don't want to know where they are from. Your duty is to ensure you don't support its escalation. Your duty is to de-escalate it. And so if we're your partner, you have to be your eyes and ears. And rather than supporting something like that, you call the authority, which is the police. We're going to intervene, and we're going to save lives. We're going to mitigate against escalation. We are living in an era that we're not private anymore. And this is the technological era I'm referring to. Everybody's taping, everybody's flashing, and so it is upon us as responsible citizens to be professional at all times, whether in the work, out of the work, in uniform, out of uniform. Generally, we are going through a developmental process in Guyana through our oil and gas. We have to expect expatriates coming to Guyana, and we have to sell our country the right way. And so fighting with each other is not the way we like to sell our country. As a collective, we speak one voice for one country. Members of the Guyana Police Force, we are members of the same community that we are fixing now. And so, we are from the community, we wear uniform, and this was done for us to provide a service to you, members of the public. Don't see us as the enemy. See us as a family. see us as a friend, see us as a member of the community in which we came. The policemen and women employed in the Guyana Police Force are from Guyana, the 10 administrative regions. And so you have no need to have conflict with persons from Guyana, from the same region in which you grew up. And so today breeds the dawn of a new era where we are going to realize the full potential of contemporary policing, where we are going to try our utmost to move from a police force to a police service based on our delivery. We are going to try as far as practicable to be more roving oriented, and so you're going to find from the commander right down to the last constable going into the communities to ascertain what are the problems and to try as far as practicable to mitigate against any escalation. You cannot sit in the offices and understand what the dynamics of what's going on in the community. And here I am open at this juncture before I conclude for questions, answers, problems, suggestions. It's going to be taken very seriously. What is applicable, I promise you now, we're going to have it incorporated or implemented. What I cannot handle, I'm going to give you a feedback, and I'm going to speak to somebody who can deal with issues outside of the realm of the police force. The floor is now open, and be as frank as you can be. Like I said, I'm very humble. You need not to worry about me. So just speak so I can, if you speak, I will have an understanding of what is affecting you, and I'll seek to have it addressed so that you can have a safer community and you can have a higher level of service, or a better level of service coming from the police. So don't be afraid. This is the opportunity. Speak.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Conan Bell. Sir, firstly, I would like to address you personally, being the Commissioner of Police. I have noticed since you have took the helm at the police force, you have a boots on the ground approach going to the various communities in and around Guyana. Sir, I'm very thankful for that initiative. It has been around for a while in the police force at the commissioner level, and you as the leader at the police force going into these communities, it has been a very good initiative, and the youths are very appreciative, and it brings a sense of the police and the community building a relationship together, and I'm thankful for that. When it comes to our region, region number 7, I have seen that being transformed in this region. Your leadership has been transferred, and we in this community appreciate that. We have seen a lot of social activities within the police and the community in this region. In terms of, we would have had the Gymkhana, which was successful the other day. We had a huge turnout, even though the increment of the weather, rain was falling, but the turnout was huge, very huge. We have seen social activities between the police and the community, a different engagement, and that has been very successful as well. Concerning the traffic department in this region, I would like to say thank you to them as well. I've seen a lot of schools being visited, informing our youths on the usage of the road, which I think is very important. It could save lives, and it could make our school children knowledgeable of using the road. I am thankful for that. And I would like to say welcome to Bartica. It's been a timely visit, and we hope to see you here more often. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is the opportunity you have to address me. Please address me now. Temple, you were saying something? Look up to the mic. You're scratching to see something. Say it. You straight me, and now I'm the commissioner. You can still speak.
Yeah, very good afternoon, sir. I enjoy the area, man. The service of the police and everything. they get it under control, and I'm happy, and I just give them a little help sometimes with some information and so on. So they say, yeah, okay. They got some other things I want to discuss, but personally, with you, sir.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Help to direct this mic. And so we have on chamber, Bartica chambers. Christmas season is a very serious season for them. And if not any other category of people here, they must be of concern with security. And so ask questions.
All right, Commissioner, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to thank you for your visit. Yes, it's an important part of our community, the chambers. And a few days ago, we did have a meeting with Commander concerning the plan, implementation, and it is very much elaborate and comprehensive. I am so pleased about it. And definitely on the community Bartica, where the business is concerned, we definitely give the support, whatever is required. And even though there are room for improvement, we are so much appreciative of the work that the police is doing in Bartica. We actually saw a lot of changes. I could say about 2 years ago, these changes step up very good for our community and Region 7 at large. I think Bartica is a melting pot of a multi-ethnic community that I don't think we give the police any problem. But, like I said, there are room for improvement, and we liaison with Commando. We talk with the other police that comes into the community and talk with us. And like one of our colleagues said, the social activity that the police are involved with is very good, because it actually, we learn from the police. We also share our experience or thoughts with the police, and we help in such a way that it helps our business community to be more proactive and work together with the police. So, Commissioner, your visit is timely. I can tell you your command is really working and is cooperating so much with the business community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Commissioner. For the few years that I have been living here at Bartica, I have realized that the police is very much involved in the community, with the committed. I mean, it has been reiterated from the other speakers. I don't want to go there. But one of the things that you mentioned that actually caught my attention is the strategic area of Bartica, all right, with regards to security. You mentioned the Christmas season on, so security has to beef up. And I was very happy to hear. I don't know how you are going to do it, but we need it, you know. Another thing that I observed when it comes to traffic annoyance, I don't know whether there's any law to actually caution drivers with the loud music that have been played on board the vehicles, because it's really, I mean, people, you don't know how strong is their heart, and some of them cannot keep that loud noise. I don't know what can be put in place, you know, to actually arrest the situation. As I said, the police is doing a very good job. What I realize that can be done is to strengthen the capacity, strengthen the numbers, you know, but everything is going to get back. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And so if we can pause the mic, let me just, 3 critical areas quickly. One, we're going to do community policing from a police perspective. The current costs that we have will remain, but the community policing I'm referring to, we've gotten the permission to increase our strength by 100%. That's a work in progress. The economy status we recently achieved will see policemen and women leaving training school as recruits. with an accredited certificate, and you're going to see retrained policemen and women being more professional in the delivery of service. Expect that coming. And so to satisfy the shortage, that's a work in progress. We currently have 158 recruits scheduled to pass out somewhere between February and March next year. And as we speak, I would like you to encourage your cousins and your children to be part of this renewed police force. And so recruitment drive is ongoing in this region from this morning. And so when we finish this meeting, you can be our eyes and ears and send the message through to the entire Bartica so we can have policemen and women coming back to serve you from your community. Very importantly, you said it's necessary for us to have more visibility during the festive season. That is our objective, and that is why we plan from January 15th throughout the year, so that on the 15th of November, we can have a plan to ensure that we have safer communities. But more importantly, I said to you, and I'm going to reiterate the point, that the Guyana Police Force, like any other organization, will never be adequately resourced. And so it's only fitting that we work in conjunction with other stakeholders so we can complement each other. And so an assistant commissioner was assigned the EPA. From a task force perspective, of course, we would have signed a memorandum of understanding to deal with noise pollution, not in Bartica, but across the 10 administrative regions. And so, on a note, Commander, a word of caution, DC admin, and I hope you're listening to the caution, because you know you normally follow up with a couple of lines. Noise pollution is affecting the nation of Guyana. While you are not going to impede on sporting activities, I prefer you to facilitate so they can have a joyous time, but without any conflict. But the noise pollution, once a report is made to the station, it must be addressed during the season. Before I entertain more questions, I'd like to say this to you. We are all responsible people at this age. I've not seen anybody here under 18, and that's good. Because what I like to say is this. During my period coming up, in my community, we used to be scolded by every elder around the place, and for the sake of taking a short out of pants from school. And when you get home, you can't complain because you'll be scolded again. Contemporary period, corporal punishment is no longer the thing of the day, but at least, you can create an atmosphere where the children can achieve their full potential within a healthy and a conflict-free environment. You must pay more attention to what your children are doing in school and out of school. You must pay more attention to see who the children are congregating with. And the movement we're trying to achieve here is not to segregate and not to separate. But if they're in a congregation with no healthy conversation, with things that are being done unlawful, you have an opportunity to address it right away. If you encourage them to do things that are wrong and things that are unproductive, you are not helping in that regard. You're contributing to what's prevailing currently. And so there's a menu of initiatives that are going to be coming from the Guyana Police Force. One, we form a community relation department that speaks to identification of vulnerable youths so they can be adequately trained, vocational training skill set, integrate them into the field of work through the private sector, and help them to be part of nation building. We recognize too that that's a constraint for us, and so we decided that we are going to form a community relations foundation supported by a constitution and a board membership of 13. Of course, predominantly civilian. We have registered a non-profit society organization. We have opened a bank account. And so, person from the diaspora who wants to help They have an independent bank account governed by members of the corporate sector and faith-based and every other part of the management. And so it's going to be spent, it's going to be data-driven, and so we can measure what we're doing as a police force too, to ensure that we're changing from force to service. This is contemporary policing. It's not going into the village, locking up, coming out of the village, and that's how you know the police. We are helping with nation building too. And the least you can do for us during the season, after the season, and throughout your existence is to support us 100%. We're all about positive, especially when we're dealing with youths, and especially the school dropouts. If you see they're converging in a corner, smoking drugs, you cannot have a degree like that. That is time wasting. 24 hours are equitably divided for all of us. And if you smoke for 12 hours in a group, the other 12 hours you have to eat and sleep. So that is just being, well, I mean, don't say the wrong thing here, but you cannot progress like that. And so we have a responsibility too. And mind you, it's not what you say, it's how it is said. And so if you speak down to people's children, they're going to retaliate. But be polite and be professional. Be somebody that they would want to emulate, having had a conversation with them. And so tell the police, because the police are no longer terrorizing on vehicles and jumping out with long guns. No, we're not doing that anymore. Of course, we have skill set trained in every region to deal with any eventuality in terms of crime. But we're going to try as far as practicable to provide a service and to do more prevention policing. Because regardless of our successes, and if you are listening to our presentation, we've yielded a lot of successes of recent. But regardless of the successes in terms of solving crime, it's after the fact. Persons are already traumatized. Our policing methodology now is as far as practicable to prevent these incidents of crime from occurring. And it can only be done through your eyes and ears in conjunction with our partnership. And so I want to pause there and we open the floor for questions. Sure, man. It's not the last question. You're still alive. One more.
I don't know how feasible it is, but have you ever thought of organizing a special reserve police force? Like in other islands, you know, your reserve regular policemen who have gone into retirement are normally called to form a special reserve force to complement the regular police. I don't know how feasible it is.
All right, I know what you're referring to, but we have a joint services posture that complement each other. But we have a Brutus, we call it Old Police Association, right? We have all the retired police, they're ex-police association we have in Guyana, and they're very active. They participate in most of the activities that we're having here. But so just to educate some of you in relation to our joint services posture, we're not only focusing on the shopping area and the residential areas, we're focused toward the Mazuni prison, and so you're going to see a joint services posture securing our prisons adequately, so there will be no breakout of prison. And so I think it's fitting that you know that too. Any other question? Sure.
Good afternoon. An issue that was brought to my attention yesterday, not to deviate from the three main topics
that is okay. Speak free.
Okay, thank you. But what we had recognized of recent, the use of or the selling of marijuana in our schools. I have a child that is attending the secondary school, that's 3 miles. It was brought to my attention yesterday, despite other issues of this same nature was made public frequently, so to speak. 3 young men were caught with 6 bags of weed to use for selling in the school. I know the police was involved and they're very helpful, etc. But my question with this new law that was passed, the 30 grams, I'd like to know how can we, with the help of the police, try to keep our schools safe? As you rightfully say, if the children are smoking 12 hours while they're in school for 8, if they're smoking 8 hours, because not all the time the child is actually in the classroom, but we're dropping them off with the intent that they're in the classrooms and they're being taught at school. However, they could then slip out with a little gang and be behind the school. Sometimes a teacher may not pick that up. I would like to know, with the help of the police and with the help of every single parent and members of the public, how can we begin to tackle this challenge that we're facing? The amount of drugs that is coming to and from Bartica is something of major concerns. There are basically, we live in Bartica, we know some of these zones, we know these areas. It still poses a challenge for all of us. To the arcade, I could name, is one of our major challenges. I've been a part of that arcade family for ever so long, 14 years now. We're still tackling the same issues. These are the same people that are there. How can we then begin to start to have this conversation to tackle this? That's one. My second thing I'd like to address here, as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, we've been getting requests or commands for the gun license. That is, let me address the elephant in the room. Everybody wants to know how to access this. It has been a major backlog for ever so long. I mean, you're not responsible for that. You're now in your new, but I'm sure we'd like to have a way forward. How can that be? How can we be able to encourage business people who would also like to protect themselves? We're in a mining community. You know, we have major resources coming to and from. That poses a hazard, to a danger hazard, so to speak, with a man leaving from his camp, X amount of production coming out, sometimes with a bike, sometimes using public, the truck, whatever it is. So, floor is over to you, sir.
All right. I like the question. First, the last one. The last one first. This is not an elephant in the room. There's a criteria set out, and if you meet that criteria, you're going to be a licensed firearm holder. As simple as that. And so let me walk you through the process. One, you go to the Ministry of Home Affairs website, you download the form, it is self-explanatory, you comply, you send that to the Commissioner's office, my office. I'll then send you an acknowledgement letter directing you go to which commander based on where you're living. The commander does his background, submits a report, either recommending or not. It comes back to me. I look at the report. I send it with a recommendation to the Firearm Board, this Ministry of Home Affairs. The Minister sends it to the Board. The Board keeps a meeting, pronounced on that, and it is the reverse process. It goes back to the Minister, to the Commissioner, to the client, or to the commander, to the client. And that's very simple. Backlogs, I cannot address. The final say is with the Firearm Board. The first question. Let me just clarify this. I was referring to school dropouts, liming at the corner, smoking. If you're in school, you cannot have 12 hours or 8 hours doing anything. And I will not dare even venture to say something like that because I came to multilateral school. And I have serious respect for teachers and headmistresses and parents who prepare me for school. I was referring to the school dropout. And so they're encouraged to smoke at the corner for 8 and 12 hours because nobody's saying anything. And when the norm becomes the right, you create a monster. To move that monster out from that zone, it creates problems. And so I want to address the schools. And Commander, if it is not happening up here, it must happen with immediate effect, meaning immediately after the Christmas season. And Brutus, please follow up in that regard. There is a drug awareness reduction education program we have, where we are circulating books in all the schools around Georgetown and the other regions. I don't know that is not going on up here. You better respond to this before I continue. Do you have a drug awareness program up here? Use the microphone. Use the microphone. And if you notice the tone changing, when I pass instruction, I'd like them to be complied with.
Yes, sir. We've already engaged education department, and we visited the schools as well. There are 2 HM that we are working with, and the system is with the schools. 150 books we already received, and it's a work in progress, sir.
Right, because in and around Georgetown, I trust you would have heard when the school would have reopened from all the depressions and the conflict that transpired on social media, there were conflicts in the school. And so through our Ministry of Education and of course the REDOs and other authorities that govern the school, we collaborated with them. And so we're in the schools. I was happy when I heard the traffic policemen are in the schools. But then I was waiting to hear the other side, because the CID ranks, of course, and we have specialized or accredited trainers now who are going to be coming to the region to do lectures to school in relation to the day programs. And so understanding of the drug awareness reduction education, it's going to put a dent to what they're doing, because it's going to probably walk them through the pros and cons and the impact of smoking drugs. In relation to the arcade, like I said, professionalism is the key. And so if you have a strong visibility in the arcade, it's a prevention method. And so you don't need to have an arcade without police and people smoking and then you go to take away the drugs. You need to have an arcade with police visibility to prevent them from smoking drugs. Now, you mentioned the recent development in Parliament in relation to the drugs. Let me just hasten to say it was not ascended to, so I'm not going to say anything in that regard. I don't want to speculate. When it is ascended to, through the commander, I will have a performance meeting and I'll walk them through the whole process, and they're going to come and educate you. Of course, well, the commander is supposed to be meeting you every week, every 2 weeks, or every day, based on our new posture. So you're going to be informed and you're going to keep abreast of what's going on through this posture. Any other question? GRA was hoping you say something, because I'm starting to close off with your agency.
Well, good afternoon, Commissioner, members of the head table, all the other members of the community of Bartica. Since my tenure at Bartica as at July 2021, I must say that the relationship between the Guyana Revenue Authority and the police is one that is very fruitful. I'm happy about the last question, because I know Commander and team went to a lot of villages during the COVID era. A lot of persons who would have been in school dropped out, and simple things they had to get in order to make themselves something meaningful to society, such as a tin certificate. When they would have approached the police group that was there, they were so directed to me. And as soon as they came to me with recommendations from the Bartica police station, right away I issued those tin within 10 minutes. So, yes, we are working very closely. I'm very happy you also spoke about the alcohol consumption. As it is currently, I do have boots on the ground. I have, in some cases, 14 officers on the ground daily. We are in the process now of regularizing a lot of businesses. We are only doing awareness now, but very soon I will get with Commander and we are going to conduct some enforcement exercise. In relation, I can speak about a particular incident. There was a football group that plays regularly at Fifth Avenue. And I must say that when I called the police station, within 2 minutes, patrol was there and dispersed the group. So, Bartica Police Station is going places, and me, as the head of the Guyana Revenue Authority here, I'm here to support them. We are working very closely, and certainly we will have a lot of development in Region 7. Thank you.
I want to ask a question. An honest question. Brutus, y'all sure the commanding walk around house and look camping before my rifle here? All right, GRA, I'm happy you said that because some decisions derive from our HIC, and we were reminded in writing that we are not a lead agency when it comes to spirituous liquor. And so I'm happy that you are taking the lead role in that regard, but we are going to support you 100%. I took offense of what you said, though. The youths were playing in a corner, and the police turned up, and they were dispelled or dispersed. Commander, the next time this happens, you must take the same youths that were playing football and bring them on the football field. And you create a day and night conducive area for the youths to exert their energy constructive. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that?
There are some omitted information from Mr. Basio. It's not just that they were playing, there was an incident where they trampled upon the citizens by balls hitting people and all sorts of things.
Yes, but the relocation I'm referring to.
Sir, if I may, our goodly mayor provide lights in the football field, and youths every single day are allowed to utilize the football field. The police are on board with them. If not every day, most of the afternoons, they are there as well.
All right, start the awareness now through not the police alone, but this August body here. And so the youths will understand the importance of going on the ball field so as not to injure themselves or to create conflict with others, right? This must start today.
There was no reoccurrence because they were spoken to and it's transformed from the road.
Happy to hear that. And that is what I like as I leave here. Whenever there's a problem, be solution driven. Don't embrace problem and create conflict. You're not going to get anywhere like that. In fact, let me put it this way. My grandmother told me, if you want to go by yourself, you go and run as fast as you can. But if you want to go with a group, remain with a group and shelter as much as you can. You know what she's telling me indirectly? I learned that when I became senior in the organization. No organization can stand up in isolation. You have to work in conjunction with that organization if you're to succeed. And so the same message transcends to the community. Live in love and harmony, and as a collective, you will have a peaceful community. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for listening to me, and may God bless you all. Have a festive season.
I thank you all for coming.
Well, that is officially the signal to indicate that this stakeholders outreach meeting by the Commissioner of Police has concluded here at the Bartica Community Center building venue.